Hey YouTube, FS Physicus here. Got something a little different for you today. Back on July 26, 2013, I got to go out shooting, yay, to a nearby rod and gun club that I had never been to before. Got to check out their setup and see what it was like. Looks like it'll be a place I can do videos in the future. And I didn't take any video equipment with me this particular day because I was just trying to familiarize myself with the place. Had a good time. When I came back though, I was kind of bummed that I didn't have any way to share the experience with you on the channel. So I did take still photos when I was out there. I mean, I've usually always got an iPad, an iPhone, digital SLR, something to shoot pictures with. And I thought what I would do is put together a video with those still photos and narrate them for you so you could see what I had been doing. So starting with the first shot here, these are the two guns I took out shooting that day. Obviously on the left, that's my Remington R1 enhanced in stainless. That's a semi-automatic. It's chambered in 45 ACP and is a 1911. On the right, I've got a 6-inch stainless steel Ruger GP-100. That's a .357 revolver. However, I was only shooting .38 special through it. Okay, let's take a look at the next picture. That shows you my target setup. I set up one target on the right at 25 feet in front of the front edge of the bench. And the other target on the left-hand side was set up at 50 feet from the bench. Yes, I did take a tape and measure with me. Now, this facility has a bench and a tabletop, which I think you can see there. And I measured from the distances from the front of the bench. However, I'm shooting pistol standing up, so I'm probably 4 or 5 feet behind the front of the bench. So the targets are 25 to 30 feet and 50 to 55 feet from me. Okay, next picture is showing the farther target, the one at 50 to 55 feet, after a few rounds from the GP-100. You know, at that distance, hey, I'm putting a fair number of them in the black. Obviously, I've got a tendency to shoot a little to the right and down. I'm a left-handed shooter, so I'm going to have to look at that. I don't remember if that's jerking the trigger or anticipating recoil or what. But, you can look up those shooting analysis charts / targets on the internet and figure it out. Okay, next picture is the GP-100. Here you can see I'm shooting a lot of blazer ammunition. This is not brass cased, so no good for me for reloading. Basically, I was just trying to use it up. There's the box of American Eagle .38 Special that I've yet to shoot, and a few additional rounds in the tray there. Kind of interesting to note how dirty the cylinder on a revolver gets. It's certainly in contrast to the bright shiny metal of the barrel and the rest of the frame. Okay, next picture is a shot of the right-hand target, the closer one, 20 to 25 feet. Here I'm doing what I would say is significantly better. A lot more of the shots are placed in the black. We've got some groupings a little to the left of the bullseye, a little to the right, maybe in the 4 o'clock position, in the 10 ring, some down at 8 o'clock in the 9 ring, also at maybe 5 o'clock in the 9 ring, and then of course we move out to that grouping in the 8. That obviously, again, I still have a tendency to pull down to the right. I'll have to figure out why that is and see if I can't correct that. Here's another shot of the far target. Shots are not particularly well grouped. They're spread out considerably. And there is that, again, tendency to show that I'm shooting down and to the right. Okay, this next picture is again of the GP-100. Here I've gotten into some of the American Eagle because you see the brass cases there. Really stark contrast to how dirty the cylinder has gotten compared to the barrel and the rest of the frame. That back face of the cylinder, I mean, looks like somebody colored with a marker. It's just black. This is the final picture of shooting at the near target. Again, we can see we're chewing away some of the X for the bullseye. We've got a few groupings in, a couple of groupings in the 10 ring, few groupings in the 9 ring, and I'm not doing so bad, or there's still a tendency to pull down to the right, but it looks like it's manageable because, we've got a number of shots in the bullseye. This picture is that same target from the back, and sometimes the back of the target maybe tells a better story than the front. It's a little easier to see. Again, just kind of shows the same thing. We've got some good groups inside the black. We do have that one group that's down and to the right. Yeah, I know in the picture it's down to the left, but this is the back of the target. So down and to the right in the 8 ring. Here's my final picture of the far target. As you can see, there aren't real strong groupings here. Keep in mind some of the larger holes that you might think are grouping could be 45, slugs from the Remington being shot at this, because both guns have been fired at this point. And I'm still showing a tendency down to the right. Got some flyers up to the right, and there's not any real strong groupings of shots here. So I'll have to work on that. But again, 50 to 55 feet. Here's the back of that same target. Again, I think in some ways this tells a better story, and you can see that the shots are fairly well distributed throughout that area. Here's one thing I thought was funny. On that far target, I had one flyer that nicked one of the wooden uprights with a .38 special round. Honestly, the thing went off before I was ready, and I knew the barrel was tilted down when I fired it. So it took a chunk out of the wood, and it left some lead traces there on the wood as it went whizzing by. I thought it was kind of neat. Here's a shot of my recovered brass from the 45. Obviously, being someone who's into reloading and recovering brass is pretty important to me. It's amazing how quickly even the fairly good-sized 45 cartridges, that spent brass, when it pops off into even short grass, it's amazing how it disappears. And I took a box of 50 45 ACP rounds with me. As you can see from the picture here, at this point in time, I had actually recovered 47 of those casings, which I was pretty proud of. And wouldn't you know it, I no sooner took this picture, put my camera away, grabbed my range bag, turned around, and stumbled upon yet another casing. So I took this next picture. Obviously, this is a home. There's the it's carpet on the back. The carpet is the background, and I managed to recover 48 out of my 50 45 ACP rounds, which is 96%. 96 out of 100. That's a pretty darn good recovery ratio. Finally, I thought I'd leave you with a picture of the brass that I had recovered after I got it all cleaned in my tumbler. And I'm sure the first thing you're looking at is, hey, some of those 45 ACP rounds cartridges really stretched out while they were in your tumbler or something. Well, no, those aren't 45 ACP. Those are 4570 government cases. Now, somebody was obviously out there shooting 4570 and they didn't recover their brass. I saw what it was and decided to pick it up and take it home. I don't own anything that's chambered in 4570, and I don't plan on acquiring anything in the near future that is chambered in that. But you never know, and it doesn't take a lot of space to store it, so why not take it home? Besides which, I could make friends with a shooter tomorrow that hand loads 4570, and I could, give him a dozen shells or so, a dozen casings, just as a act of goodwill. I did find a few 9mm cases laying on the ground there. Over on the right side of the picture, about halfway down, there's a nickel-plated 9mm casing that should be pretty obvious. Anyway, that's the brass I collected and got cleaned up and everything after I was done shooting. So that's kind of my day of shooting back on July 26th. Had a good time. It was nice to get outside and get some shooting done. I think this range will be someplace that I can do videos. I'm real excited to getting back into that and producing some more actual shooting videos for you guys. I'll let you in on a secret. I have 2 handguns that I bought that I have not yet fired, so I'm going to make sure you guys get to see the first few rounds through those guns on video. I'm not going to tip my hand, but one of them is chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson. The other is another 45 ACP. So I hope this wasn't too boring. I hope you come back and look at some more of my videos. Thanks for looking in on me.